I gotta introduce you correctly. Your contribution to the culture is unparalleled. One of the greatest talent scouts battle rappers ever seen.
Oh, hold on, I gotta stop you right there.
Okay,
I gotta stop
okay,
you right there. First of all, I'm the greatest talent evaluator ever. I was never a talent scout, so we gotta leave
okay,
that. It's not
okay,
a,
okay.
it's not a debate, bro. Like, no disrespect to anybody else that ever did this, but you're talking to the man, the architect that created all. So all that, all that, you know, one of you gotta cut it out early.
It got to be the greatest
Talent
talent
evaluator ever.
talent evaluator of all
Yeah.
time. We here with
Yeah.
Norbes. Big
Mm-hmm.
salute.
It's good,
Okay,
my brother.
so let's
Yeah.
start from the beginning if we can. What
Yeah.
got you into battle rap?
Um, the battle rap, yo, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I was never a fan of battle rap. So, to be honest with you, it was more so the music. I was managing artists. I was actually managing Liaison and then Math Hoffa pretty much at the same time. I ran into Math Hoffa. I was sponsored by a sneaker company, and they had sent me to the Fight Club. They were having like some type of event or whatever, and so I'm there, and they was like, "Yo, what you doing? Whatever, whatever. Don't leave. Math is coming." And I was kind of like, I don't know who the fuck is Math. I didn't know who the fuck Math was. And a kid named Darian, who was his manager at the time, was like, yeah, he's the guy that snuffed dude on Smack DVD. And at that time, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I ended up going home, watching it, and I was always interesting. And I was doing mixtapes at the time. I was dropping mixtapes and shit, doing music, producing it, and whatnot. And I hit up his manager and I said, "Yo, send me some tracks. I want to see what this kid's talking about." And I liked Mav's music. I put him on the mixtape, and uh, from there, you know, building my relationship with Mav led me into the battle world. To be honest with you, like, the first DVD I actually watched of a battle DVD was Sub Zero's Lions Den, and you know, I watched that, and like the first person that really caught my eye in battle rap was Goods. That was like, I was like, yo, I like this Puerto Rican dude, right? And Math started kind of laughing at me, like, he like, bro, he not Puerto Rican, but he black and Italian or whatever. And I started laughing, like, yo, for real. I was like, yo, I gotta meet this dude. I would like to put him on the mixtape because I was still pretty much focused on the music. I didn't really care too much about the battle shit. So, he introduces me to Goods. That shit was crazy with meeting Goods because she was like in the middle of a snowstorm when I met Goods. He pulled up, gave me his mixtape. Me and Goods chopped it up, and from there, I started building relationships with a lot of battlers. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to get out on the music end of it. Goods was with like he was messing with Swiss Beats. You had all the battlers battling with the purpose of trying to get their music out there. It was not like in recent history where these battles are battling to battle. These guys were out there to put out music. So the fact that I was a mixtape DJ at the time was very appealing to a lot of these individuals. So, you know, how you call that shit? What was I saying? So that's how that happened.
And
And
that's how you got with Goods. And so now you were
yeah, I
linked
just
in
started
with these
meeting.
guys on the music tip.
Yeah,
So it
I met
wasn't even about battle
Cortez.
rap in the beginning.
Nah, I never was. I met Cortez. Cortez was cool. He was doing the music on the scene. Then I started meeting guys like Arsonal and my man Pep. And it was kind of weird because in the beginning, we was just we were going to battles just to chill. Like it was on some like, yo, we got to battle at Soul Food in the Lower East Side. Like, yo, come through, and we'll just go through and it'd be me, Goods, Mook will come through, Clips will come through, and that's how I started meeting everybody. It wasn't even on no battles. It was just chilling, and people were trying to get their music out there. The battle culture was
Wow.
kind of non-existent at the time. The
Hmm.
only thing that was out there was GrindTime at the time, and they was on WorldStar, and it really didn't pique my interest. But whatever, I ended up meeting some some cats. I actually what got me into the grind time scene was I had a show. If you guys look it up, it's on what's his guy? Craze, the content, the king of content. His name is Craze. He had all access
Hmm.
DVD. I had my own show on there. I had like I was doing interviews back then, or just hip hop artists. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. That was my man. I had
Rest
Nipsey
in peace,
Hussle up
Nip.
there. I had French Montana up there. I had the Track Masters. I had bro, like I had little everybody up there. So I had that show, and I was doing that kind of to expand my brand. And that's how I met DNA. DNA was like 17 when I met him, and I
Wow.
met Newborn. And I remember, I just remember watching DNA, and then I was like, this guy got no tooth. He had like a, he wasn't the cleanest looking individual. He was young, like it was whatever. And he was hungry. I remember seeing him. He was hungry, and that's how I met DNA and Newborn. And I let them freestyle on my show, which is called Amadu's Corner. I actually thought Newborn was a better rapper than DNA, and we just started getting cool. It started becoming like just everybody getting cool. You know, I went to a few grind time events. That's when I met Conceited. I was at the Conceited vs Cortez battle, and then from there I was just establishing relationships. Me and Arsonal, me and these guys, like we was all out, bro. Like it was crazy. Like to the point where we go to the battles and then we'll go to these strip clubs right after. Like it was crazy. Like it'll be me, Ars, it'll be Cortez, Good. We all just chilling, bro, just on some. And it's crazy because all of this is not without Math because Math was always late to everything. So we were just not real fact. If anybody know Math, it'd be like Math ain't really like Math was really in the streets. So Math wasn't the type of individual that if it wasn't about no bread, he wasn't gonna be there. Math was really like when he talks about what he talks about, he was really in them streets.
He was
So
really doing
like,
what he was rapping about.
yeah, yeah. So like, Math wasn't pulling up about unless it was about some bread. And from there on, I started meeting my man Liaison introduced me to my man Zaire. He used to shoot a lot of Smack's videos that you seen on there. He used to shoot videos for everybody in the hood. If you look up Zaire, Zaire done shot for like Mano, fucking Nori, True Life, like everybody who was anybody, Zaire shot. Now me and Zai ended up having establishing a really good relationship, and he had asked me to come out with some roles and shit like that, and do some shit on the videos, like play a cop or do this and do that. So, that's I started. This was networking. Like, when you're trying to come up, you're trying to rub elbows with everybody, and so that's what I did. And there was one particular video um, that Troy Mitchell, aka Smack, was in, and at the time, the DVD game was kind of dying, but it meant something to be on that DVD. Now, this had nothing again to do with battle. It was more so about music. So if you watch there's a DVD with Mano on it. There's a DVD around that time. I had music on that DVD. I had videos from Liaison. I had one from Math Hoffa. Um, so that happened because when I went to the video shoot, my man Zai was like, "Yo, we shooting My Life as a Movie, the remix. You can look that up." He's like, "Yo, come do a cameo for me. I'm gonna put you in with Shay Davis. What's that dude that was on he was a favorite Jay Mills. All of them are
Wow.
there. And he was like, yo, Smash, that's all right, cool. I'm gonna run up on that nigga Smack. Like, just like that. So he was like, all right, boom, come through. I get there, Smack's there, no beard, he looks like a platypus. Um, he got a big ass red hoodie on. Whatever. So I was like, bro, fuck it. Like I'm the type of dude like if the goal is to get to somewhere, nothing's gonna stop me from getting there. So I just ran right, I just walked right up to him like, yo, blah blah blah. This is what I'm doing. Blah blah. He's like, oh shit, you fuck with Math Liaison, yeah. And that's how me and him established our relationship. And then
So
from
all of that came through math and networking with music and the different artists that you're gonna get connected with, and boom, that's the first time you and Smack linked up.
yeah, it really came through again. Like Zaire introduced me. I mean, Liaison introduced me to Math, and then Zaire introduced me to uh, Liaison introduced me to Zaire, and then me and Zaire started a relationship, and he was working with all these artists, and I was trying to get to work with some of these artists. And when he told me that Smack was gonna be, I said, all right, boom, I'm gonna go fuck with Smack, and that's how I met Troy. But at the time, like I said, the DVD game was kind of fading out, and like so. If you remember, if you recall, if you're young enough to remember the DVD game, the mixtape game, it
Absolutely.
was very important to be on mixtapes and whatever. So if you look at my show, if you guys look it up, it's called Amadu's Corner. That's how I had Nipsey up there. Like Nipsey was just coming out. Like that was my guy. I had Nipsey come in. I was the one that put Nipsey on Smack. That's a fact.
Wow.
Everybody was going to the mixtape spot. Now the main mixtape spot was Amadu's, where they sold the DVDs and everything. So that's where I kind of got my knowledge. Like, okay, these are the shits that's popping. How do I get on these? I done bring Sub Zero up, and so I started establishing a lot of these relationships. Now the game started to phase out, and that kind of phased out Smack DVD. It phased out the come up. It wasn't just Smack DVD. And if you guys recall, if you guys know your history, WorldStar and YouTube were kind of simultaneously taking over the hip hop game. More so WorldStar. So I established a relationship with Q
Who had
from
founded
WorldStar.
WorldStar?
Exactly. So now me and Q was cool. So now I got Q. I got already on Smack. And now Smack is kind of seeing my hustle. He's like, yo, this dude is moving out in these streets. Like, it's kind of crazy. And
What was so at that point? What was the first collaboration with you and Smack?
it was just on some, like, bro, like, it was some music shit. Like, we went on, we got on, I got my artist on the main old DVD cover. I put Liaison on there and I put Math on there. Now, what people fail to realize is Smack DVD had really nothing to do with the battles, right? Like, people don't really understand that. The key the key stuff that was on that DVD that helped propel Smack to where he was at the time was the content. YouTube is what killed that content, what killed his run in the DVD game. But it wasn't just Troy; it was everyone that was relying on selling units. Nobody sells units no more. Hence why you have Spotify. Hence why you have Apple Music. Nobody buys CDs, DVDs no more, right? So
Right.
that was the beginning of phasing that out. So anybody from Fendi to All Access, everyone had to pivot at that time, right? So Smack wasn't he wasn't, how do I say, he wasn't he basically had to do what everybody else had to do, right? So there was no more like the big DVD shit. And the crazy thing is Sub Zero is the person, and people, and let me just put this out about Sub Zero. Sub Zero is really the person that got the battle DVD shit going. He was the first person in New York, not Philly, because I think Big Philly was doing it as well. But rest in peace, Big Philly. But Sub was alongside with Loaded Lux was putting out the Lions Den. So when you see the Tech Nines, the K Shines, the Rich Dollars, the Goods, the Head Ices, that's where that era came from. Like
Facts.
people never give Sub that credit, but Sub Zero is kind of one of the founding fathers of what you guys started to see. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the one doing that shit at Black Star on a consistent basis. Um, you know what I'm saying? Even when you seen the Rex and the match was supposed to go down on the Lions then. So you know, boom, whatever. I'm still working with Math or whatever. Me and Troy's pretty much. He's seeing my hustle. I'm very internet savvy. I'm a tech guy. I understood the game. I understood the transition, and he needed someone to help him catapult and go into that because he didn't have those individuals. He had two other people that one was an A&R, which was Eric, right? And Eric was you know pretty much when when they say it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. He was an industry individual that was used to selling units. Very smart individual, you know what I'm saying? But you know, the game was changing. They were getting rid of the executives. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So pretty much from there, like I said, I was making moves or whatnot, and the Loaded Lux lines that shit with Kid Capri was gonna launch. So Math had hit me. I was in the Dominican Republic chilling. I was being a keep it real. I was being a man. I was out there bugging out. And what's his name? Math calls me like, yo. First he tells me about some shit with Joe Budden or whatever, and some shit happened in the club. And then he's like, yo, this nigga loaded Lux hit me up. Because remember, Lux was doing the Lions Den with Sub. And now Lux was trying to get a situation with Kid Capri on on HBO. I don't know if you guys remember that. So the nigga hits me. He's like, "Yo, Lux want to do this shit. Um, he's offering $2,500 or some shit. Hold on, Papa. I'm coming up right now. Um, and just lay down with me. Come over here. Sorry about that. That's my son. So
Nah, you good. God bless.
sorry about that, Josh. So I told Smack, I was not Smack. I'm sorry. I told Math. I said, "Yo, I touch down in 2 days. Don't say nothing. Don't accept any offers. I'm gonna get you more money." So Math is about that chicken. He's like, "Yo, you sure?" I said, "Bro, I'm gonna get you more money. Don't worry about it." So I finish my vacation. I land and I call rest in peace Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead was the leader of. He was the person that ran the East Coast division for GrindTime. And I swear to God, bro, it took like point 0.2 seconds for him to offer me the bread. Like I was like, "Yo, I got this Math Rex battle lined up because we was baiting Rex for a battle, and we was putting out mad videos on WorldStar. I had the relationship already with Q, so I'm hitting Q like, "Yo, I'm put this up, put that up," and it was building the battle. So originally it was supposed to happen on Smack, but Smack ain't had the money. He ain't had the money they wanted. He just didn't have it. A couple times he hit us like, "Yo, 50's gonna pay for this." It didn't happen, right? So now Lux came to the table. And then I called PH. PH was like, "Yo, I got 4 bands for both of them. You feel me? Each of them, each 4 bands." Now, mind you, at this time, bro, and this is a fact, battlers weren't getting paid nothing. Like they was doing these battles for free.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? In fact, that was Rex actually said this shit on record. Like that's the first time he ever got paid. So boom, whatever. Um, PH says he got it. So I told Lux, I said, "Lux, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to match it." So Luck's like, "Nah, beloved, I don't want to match you. This is what we got, whatever." So I said, "Look, I'll take the 25, right? But under one condition, I need to sit down with Russ or Kid Capri and basically have a guarantee that if this shit deal doesn't go through, that the footage drops." And the reason I did that was because Mav had battles on the Fight Club that never dropped. The Serious Jones shit, he had a bunch of shit. So his biggest fear was the shit not dropping. Lux said he couldn't make that shit happen. Whatever, whatever. So I ended up calling Pumpkinhead again, and PH like, "Yo, bro, I swear, as soon as I rang, the first ring, Pumpkinhead picks up. He's like, 'Yo, I got 5.' I said, 'Damn.'
Wow. So the
Now
number's
it's
just
boom.
going up now.
Yeah, the number went up. Because he's trying to launch the East Coast division. I called Math and Rex. I'm like, 'Yo, I got 5 grand. Each of y'all, them niggas like, hell yeah, let's make it happen.' And remember, these cats was not getting paid. So I forgot what date it was in August. Um, and we met up to sign the contract. So PH wanted to do like a contract, to they wanted to play this WWE shit. Now we went and signed the contract, right? Now the mistake I made was not dating when we had to get the deposit. So the Math wanted to have the money before September 11th because it was his son's birthday, Kai. And whatever we signed the deal, whatnot. September 11th came, no calls from PH, none.
Wow.
So I wait 2 days. He finally calls me. He's like, "Yo, what's up?" And I'm like, "Bro, you told me you had this money for me on September 11th. What's up?" So he's like, "Oh no, I didn't say that." I said, "Listen, bro, I know what we said. It's not in whatever. But we got what we gonna do." He's like, "Yo, just give me a couple days." Couple days pass, and I'm not hearing from PH. Then I hear from him, and he's kind of like doubling back, like, "Oh, I'm waiting on this dude. His name is Chris Petty. Shout out to Chris Petty. That's my man right now." And Chris Petty was involved in the situation. Chris Petty been involved for battle rap since the beginning.
So
That's the
Chris
crazy
Petty
shit.
was involved in trying to book this Math versus Rex battle.
Chris Petty was supposed to be the financial backer at the time for GrindTime. So I never spoke to Chris, but on the original contract, it was Chris Petty and GrindTime that was putting this event out.
Oh, salute to
So
Chris Petty. That's crazy. Wow.
yeah, so I don't know what happened between PH and Chris Petty. I can't tell you that. I don't know. What I do know is that it was getting me frustrated. Math was mad, Rex was mad, and I remember again. I remember I'm working with Matt with Smack on some, trying to transition him over. He had Smack too. He was trying to push that, so I was helping him blog with that shit and whatnot. So at this point, um, the nigga, the nigga Smack hits me and is like, "Yo, I got that chicken for the battle. Don't say nothing." But remember, I already heard this from Smack.
Hmm.
He's like, "I got this chicken. I got this nigga from the West Coast. He got bread. He wants to pay for the battles." But
Wow.
he said, "Don't make no announcements until whatever." So I'm like, "All right, whatever." Now I get a call like that night. Some dude with a West Coast accent calls me named Swag, and I'm like, Swag's like, "Yo, I got Swag on the line." So Swag's like, "Yo, whatever. I'm a big fan of this shit. I'm flying in Monday, and I want to make this battle happen." So now this dude's flying in from Arizona, talking about he gonna pay. So I call Math and Rex. I'm like, "Yo, this wasn't happening. We got to meet in Atlantic Records, where that's where Eric worked at." And he was like, "I'm gonna fly in." I said, "All right, cool." Monday comes, this nigga don't fly in. So
Oh,
we back to
shit.
square one. Like, damn, bro,
Wow.
what's going on? Now at this point, I'm not hearing from Grind. I'm still waiting, but it seems like it's not gonna happen. So I turn around and Swag calls like, "Yo, I forget I'm flying in tomorrow. I have some shit to do." Swag pulls up the next day. We're in Atlantic, and I remember it was me, Rex, Math. I think Louis the 13th was there.
And this was at Atlantic Records.
This is Atlantic Records. Eric used to work there, so we would use Atlantic Records as like our personal office after hours. So we met there probably like around 5 or 6 o'clock or some shit. And I remember this shit vividly because I was sitting next to Mav and Rex on the other side. I think Louis there, and I think Rex's brother. I don't remember exactly who else was with Rex. And I just remember Swag came in with Smack and his Beasley's there. So it was me, Smack Beasley, and it's Rex's man's cousins, and there's me and um, Matt. So Swag walked in and he got this fucking chain on, bro. This is what I remember vividly. He got this fucking chain in the shape of California, right? And the shit had mad diamonds in it. So I'm looking at Math and I'm like, "Yo, bro, like, who is this dude? Like, I never even heard of this dude." So, come to find out, he said he won a lotto, whatever, right? Whatever, I don't know. So we're at the table. So he's like, "Look, man, I just have a few rules. The shit gotta be judged because I don't understand all this battle shit with no judging and who's the winner. I'm a big fan." He gives like a whole like speech and shit, right?
Hmm.
What's up? So Matt and Rex is like, "Man, I don't know about all that judging shit." Because it's a pride thing at this point. They don't want to take the L to each other, right? So they're like, "I don't know about all that shit." I swear to God, this nigga pulls out 2 knots, puts it on the table. Bang! All that shit stopped. Niggas like, "Yeah, well, we could agree on the judges and cause the money he put it out there, but he's like, yo, here you go. Either take it or leave it. These are my rules." Mav looked, he said, "All right, we gotta agree on the judges," and we started throwing names out there like Kid Capri, I think Superstar J was another one, and whoever. And that's when the agreement happened. So that's when I basically was like, "You know what? F grind time. We're gonna do it on Smack DVD." Remember, he's still trying to use that as content for Smack Tube or Smack whatever he was trying to do.
Hmm.
But he was trying to pivot from the DVD game because he wasn't seeing that type of bread no more. So hold on, puppy, hold on one second. Sit down right here. You
You
want to sit
good?
down? Sit down. It's okay. So nah, my fault. My kids they be all over me. But so I want you guys to remember there was an event that Smack and Beasley had with some dude called the World Series of Hip Hop, which had like Reese Steele, Lady Luck, uh, uh, Murder Mook, Enes, Mice on all of them, right? So that event was the last. That's the first event they tried to do with some dude where they had like voting on the text messages. Guy was supposed to get X amount of money or whatnot. The events went down and they took a big hit to their reputation because nobody got paid. So they lost their relationship with a lot of these guys. So boom, fast forward now, right? I get a call from Smack and Bees, and they're like, "Yo, hold on, sit down." He's like, "Yo, these white boys is killing it right now on the internet, referring to grind time." And I'm like, "All right, yo, whatever. I don't, it don't matter shit to me." So they was like, "Yo, we wanna you know, we're thinking of creating this thing to where bringing the streets, bringing the battleship back on the street level shit. Because these white boys is winning, and the streets is missing out on this type of shit. So in my head, I'm kind of like, because we would have these conversations, but it wouldn't be like we were working with each other, but we wasn't in a sense. I was still doing my thing, and I was still working with Craze from my man from the King Craze from All Access DVD. I started my show, whatever. So you know, Bees was like, yo. So I'm like, yo, like, so I mean, why are you telling me this shit? And they're like, yo, we don't really know about battles like that. We don't, this is what we did. We had them on the thing, but we don't have them relationship. Like you have your thumb on the pulse of this shit. Now, mind you, what people didn't know was I actually helped set up that card with the Kid Capri shit. I just nobody ever never knew that shit. Like the Head Ice versus Cortez, I set that shit up. The Tech Nine versus Goods was supposed to be a blue collar TV. So those battles, I remember speaking to Lux for like hours. So yo, use dumb shits, do this Cortez battle. So they already knew that I had the mindset, and I knew that I had the relationships that I was building with these guys. So whatever. Um, that's when I got the offer or whatever, and we basically agreed to move forward. So my next question was, "All right, bro, like, what we doing?" He's like, "Yo, we're gonna throw this event. I want you to put it together. Now we gonna build this brand. This is what we're gonna call it. URL. So the URL. If you remember the original URL logo, right? It looked very similar to the UFC because Beasley is a fucking UFC nut. Like this motherfucker, like he loved this shit. Like so, it was kind of designed in that mold, the UFC. So then we started coming up with ideas like, yo, we're gonna do 10 of the tapes, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So I was like, yo, what's the budget? I remember this shit was hilarious because everybody got quiet, and I'm like, yo, like, what's the budget? Niggas like, yo, we ain't got no budget. We just gonna rent the studio and Smash gonna shoot the shit. I say, yo, my nigga, like, how you expect me to get these? Because now the battles were getting paid by grind time and shit, so they wanted to get paid. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna figure this shit out. I'm gonna set up the card. We gonna make it happen. Don't worry about the prep. So you guys hear me still? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So
Oh, I
you're
gotta
now
make sure.
discussing the first smack card that y'all put together.
Yes, yes. So the funny shit was, I was more motivated to shit on fucking grind time because they had played my situation with the math. So I was like on some vengeance shit to the point where I remember telling newborn, "Yo, I'm about to start my own league." They fuck grind time. That's how I felt at the time. So I started setting up the card. And remember, I'm going to all these events. So they knew Miles. They had a relationship with young Miles. So I reached out to young Miles. I'm like, yo, what's good? I'm gonna put you on this card or whatnot. He's like, yeah, all right, boom, put my man X Factor on. So I remember calling us back about X Factor, and he was like, yo, man, Shane, son, niggas not fire, son. Like, fuck we doing here? I'm like, bro, I don't got no budget, my nigga. This nigga Verb wanna get paid. I already had talked to Verb. Like these niggas want money, so I gotta figure this shit out. You feel me? So I put X on the card. Cortez was down to do the card, but he didn't want to battle Young Miles. So he was like, X Factor. So I ain't had nobody for Miles. So I remember I was like, oh, I know Rich Dollars. I hit Rich Dollars. Because Rich Dollars had that shit with goods, that whole crazy beef. So Rich was like, fuck it, I'ma do it. Now he said, I'm doing it for free. Boom, boom. So at this point, Miles calls, he's like, yo, card is dope so far. I know this fat nigga from Chicago that he did the Lions Den in Chicago. I'm like, who? He sends me this footage. Bro, this shit was grainy as shit. I don't even know. I couldn't even hear what Big T was talking about, but I was like, fuck it. Bring that fat nigga on. So Big T gets on the court. Now I gotta find an opponent for Big T. I called DNA because I reached. No, first I called Hollow because me and Hollow was cool. Hollow agreed to do it, and then said, called me like a day later. Was like, yo, can we put up some money for this shit? So Big T agreed to like $1,000 side bet or whatnot against Hollow. Then Hollow's like, man, fucking, I ain't doing it. I don't want to get this nigga a buzz. Hollow didn't really want to do smack. He didn't like the format. He was used to that 1 minute shit, 1 minute 30. He didn't want. He didn't think he would be successful in a longer format, so he backed out. So I called DNA. DNA is trying to be loyal. DNA was super loyal to Pumpkinhead, so he agreed first. And I was like, yo, I don't want to shit on, on Pumpkinhead. I know you're doing this to shit on them because they did the money. I said, I respect it. You feel me? I don't want you to fuck up a relationship because he came in under PH on the battle shit. So I called Newborn. Newborn got the same treatment. Newborn didn't do it. So now I'm left and I'm like, bro, I don't got an opponent for Big T. And I already told him I put him on a card. And I fuck around and I remember this dude named Miguel Diablo. And I'm like, yo, that nigga was type fire. Like Miguel Diablo was ill, bro. And I remember him herbing this battle rapper from Connecticut. And I was like, yo, he's dope. So I go book Miguel Diablo. My man from Blue Collar was like, yo, how about Miguel Diablo? I said, ah, fuck it. Now I book him, he changes his name to Deacon Frost. Shout out to Deacon
Oh
Frost.
wow. Okay.
And that's when I set up Deacon Frost versus Big T. So now the event is set. But we don't got a host. I'm not gonna host the shit. This nigga Smack is behind the camera. So I'm just like, damn, we trying to figure that shit out now. So as me and Beasley, because me and Beasley really would do a lot of the brainstorming. Eric has a very, uh, he's very good at marketing, and
100%. He's a
he,
marketing genius
yeah,
for real. Salute Beasley.
he's a smart dude. So when we worked together, me and him, we had a lot of, we had a very good rapport. We had a very good chemistry.
Okay.
So so I remember fucking Goods had a relationship with Star. So I'm talking to Goods, I'm like, yo, I need a host, nigga. Like, I don't know what to do. So Goods was like, yo, call the nigga Star. He like this battle shit. I said, Star for Star and Buckwild? He's like, yeah. I said, my nigga, I ain't got no bread, nigga. I'm gonna call this nigga and he gonna laugh at me. So he gives me Star's number. Star calls me and Star's like, what's up, nigga? You know how he talks. He's like, well, I like this battle shit. These niggas be wilding out there talking that crazy shit. My favorite nigga's Head Ice. That nigga crazy. So I'm like, yo, this guy really talks how he talks. So I said, yo, man, I need a host for this shit. I would love for you to be the host. I know you have a passion for this shit. He's like, all right, nigga, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'm like, yo, Star, that's dope. Now, at this point, I'm trying to avoid the monetary aspect of the situation. Because a nigga, I ain't got no bread. These niggas ain't got no bread. So I got to figure this shit out. The nigga Star's like, listen, how much you got for me? I said, Star, I'm going to keep it real. I ain't got a fucking dollar for you, bro. I ain't no budget. I'm thinking he gonna bang on me, right? Star turn around, he's like, all right, nigga, fuck it, man. I'm with it.
Damn.
I'm like, what?
Amazing.
Bro, shit was crazy. Like everything was falling into place. So I called Bees. I said, yo, I got a host, nigga. He's like, who? I said, yo, Star. Bees didn't even believe me. I said, bro, I got Star the host shit. He's like, yo, he's like, oh, that's crazy. We got Star. Because now, remember, we're setting up for the launch of this product. And Star was a big voice on the streets. And at that time, he was fucking with Vlad TV. He was doing the shit with Drake. He was doing mad shit, right? So the next thing for me was, how do I attack the internet in a way that is explosive, right? So I'm now at this point, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna call Q. I hit Q. I said, yo, Q, I got something for you. So Q like, all right, what's up? I said, yo, I got this Math Rex battle. Now, remember, I was building the Math Rex battle through the internet, and I was using WorldStar. That nigga jumped out the window and said, bro, look, if you give me that battle, I'll put the shit on the top box.
Oh
All
wow.
the battle. Now, mind you, the top box was what every fucking body in the hip hop wanted to be on
Yeah, that was
WorldStar.
special back then.
Facts. He gave me the top box and gave us the top box to do that. And I was like, oh shit. I called B. I said, yo, I got the top box on WorldStar. He's like, you fucking lying. I said, bro, I just called Q. Q said as long as we do this, so that we had like a conference call. We locked it in. So now we had the host, we had the event, we had the the battlers, and we had a host. And now it was just left the production, which my man, shout out to my man Mark Buddington, he ended up shooting, and that was Smack's man at the time, which is K Slay's cousin. And then Beasley got the venue. And the funny shit was like Bees is funny, man, because Bees is like he's petty, right? I guess that's the word people use. So he's when we agreed to doing the event, he said, "Yo, we gonna do that shit on the same day GrindTime's doing that shit because they were doing Bad Blood. That was their first event. So I was with it because I'm like, shit, you know what I'm saying? They fucked it up for me, so now I'm gonna make them pay. So we ended up doing it on October 31st, 2009, and that's how the URL started.
That is a crazy. That's
I'm sorry, long winded for
no,
everybody
no, no,
listening.
no. It's that. It's just
Like,
such a
mm,
crazy how everything came together. It was based
yeah,
mostly on relationships, no budget, and then
yeah,
ended up being one of the most legendary cards ever. You know what I'm saying?
nah, yo, bro, it was crazy because like people don't even know how we got to the Midwest. Because remember, again, after the event, it was popping. It was crazy because in my head, I wanted Hitman, Verb, and Ill, right?
Hmm.
And ironically, Miles was like, "Yo, we about to do the Midwest Massacre," and my man O was throwing a shout out to my nigga O in St. Louis. Yo, I could probably get him to give y'all the battles. Now, this shit that made me laugh was, Smack said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So we gonna talk about it. Like Smack is a very smart man, right? But at the same time, he they didn't really know what was what in a sense in that regard, which is cool. You feel me? I get it. This is why I'm here. So Smack lets everybody walk in front of him. He's like, "Yo, Sean, what you think?" I'm like, "Oh my nigga, if we get Verb, Hitman, and motherfucking Young Ill, we cooking with grease, nigga. Like we cooking with some heat right now." So I remember, and this is the first time I met Chico. And he turns to Chico, he like, "Yo, book that shit, we out." That's exactly what Smack said. And that's how we end up going to St. Louis. And that's how the original Midwest movement started off of that. Cause I was just like, bro, we gotta go get them niggas. We gotta go get Verb. We gotta go get Hitman. And, looking from now back, it was just crazy because, what Hitman is and all that shit is kind of bugged out. But that's how that ended up happening.
That's great. So okay, I want to get to Hitman a little later, but so that's incredible. So it was the battle was passed on to y'all. It wasn't something that y'all put together. It was something that was passed
You
on.
talking about the Math Rex or you talking about
Hitman and Verb.
No, Hitman. It wasn't Hitman. It was Hitman versus Big T. Hitman was battling T. Verb was battling Miles. It was the Midwest
Verb's not
Massacre.
mine. Okay,
So
okay.
yeah. So basically, Street Status was doing their thing at the time.
Uh-huh.
So Miles was on that card. So he was like, "Yo, I could probably get y'all the footage." I talked to O. So O actually paid for that shit or
And
whatever
that
day
street
that shit.
status. Oh,
Yeah. And I
okay.
was the one that said, "Fuck it, let's go do that shit." And Troy was like, "Bro, you running the ship, let's make it happen." And then we went on. And if you kind of follow the earlier shit, you notice that I'm the one doing the intros and shit. And I'm letting people know when the next event is doing. Because that's kind of where that was a lot of my strengths was in that. Smack was very he wasn't a camera cat. Like you see him now with the throwing up the fingers and the beard with the chains. And that wasn't Troy. You know what I'm saying? He actually ends up being the host at Midwest Massacre because Star couldn't make it, and that's where you got Troy today. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So were these roles defined?
Yeah.
Like when once y'all started and everybody knew what their strengths were and how to bring everything
Um.
together, did y'all define y'all roles? Was it like,
Nah.
okay, you
It
gonna do
was,
this, you gonna do
bro.
this?
It wasn't like that, bro. Because it was a situation like it's like when you start a business, right? Let's say you start fucking a restaurant, right? Everybody's doing the cleaning. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing that. So like we all were kind of doing everything, whether it
Chipping
was the
in the, yeah, to
website.
make it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you know what I'm saying? Like Smack knew production. I ain't no production, so Smack focused more so on the production aspect of it. Me and Beasley and Smack, we would have meetings like I think it was like every Monday or some shit, where we would go over like the plans of what we plan on doing. kicking ideas back and forth. Like it was kind of dope, looking back on it. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing the brainstorming, or yo, I like this dude, or ooh, we like that, or we should do this, and so
So
it was kind of like
so
that.
as y'all start putting everything together, how did the PGs come about?
So the PGs came about because I think in about I want to say 2010. So remember I was telling you about Swag. My nigga Swag was he was funding the events. Swag ended up getting I think he ends up getting indicted or some shit, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, he ends up getting indicted. So now the nigga that's putting up the chicken, he's not around. So, we was, smacking them. We're really focusing on getting funding from other places, and we ain't really had a shit like that. And grind time, remember, we was kind of our competition was grind time. So they I don't know how the fuck they was getting money, but they was offering these guys a stupid amount of dollars. And I remember we had like a fucking meeting, and Smack was like, "Bro, I ain't paying these niggas all this money." And Beezy was on the same tip, and we was all kind of on the same tip, like, yo, like these niggas getting out of hand. They want 7,000 now, 8,000. This is what they want. They offered Rex. It was crazy, bro. It was the
At
wild
that
wild
time,
west.
that was a lot of money, obviously.
Yeah, bro. I remember they were like, yo, they offering Rex because remember Rex and Awkward was going at it, so they offered Rex like some crazy shit, like 7,000 or some crazy shit. And I was just tired of like, bro, like, fuck them niggas, let them niggas go. So like me, I come from a sports background, right? So I'm a real I kind of break things down like a sport, right? So I remember like, yo, why the fuck we gonna overpay these niggas? Well, we should just build up our roster. And I remember watching, I don't remember who it was, but it was saying basically, yo, your company's gonna be is as successful as the people that are coming in after, which basically like your rookies and stuff like that. So I remember calling be like, yo, fuck these niggas. And what are you talking about? I'm like, bro, why are we gonna go crazy trying to pay these dudes? We don't got the money back there, right? You guys don't want to come out your pockets too crazy because it's a risk. Again, we all working. Chico working, I'm working on a regular job. Beasley was still, I think, at Atlantic. I don't know what the fuck Troy was doing. I can't even say. I don't know to be honest. So I was on some like, bro, forget about them. Let's build the new wave and put these guys under pretty much like a contract where we control the bread aspect of it because we're not going to continue to compete, right? It just doesn't make sense if you ain't got that type of budget. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go against the big dogs when you ain't got it. And grind time for some fucking reason, they have money. In fact, I think that I think that event they had booked like fucking freeway and shit. We were looking like, yo, what the fuck going on? So
And at that time, y'all just didn't have the budget to compete with
yeah,
what they were
bro,
doing.
you gotta understand, we was relying on other people's money, and Swag happened to be arrested at the time or whatnot. So you know, we just trying to figure it out. We all in it. We in the mud together, right? So I called Bees and I was like, bro, I think this is the way to go. He loved the idea, and he like when you tell Bees a good idea, he goes into fucking not weirdo mode. He goes into promo mode. He's like, yeah, we're gonna promote it like this. What are we gonna call it? And I remember he had said some shit in one of the trailers, or somebody said some shit where it said Proving Ground. I said, yo, we're gonna take Proving Ground. That's what we're gonna do. That's the name, Proving Ground, and we're gonna develop all of these new guys. The same way when we took Verb and them, but we're gonna create a whole new wave so we can control the money aspect of this shit. You feel me? Because paying Rex wants a certain amount of money, and he deserves it. So how do we counter that? And that's what we decided to say. Hey, boom, let's do this. And that's how I created it. And then Beasley just started with the voices like, yo, we're gonna do a commercial. We're gonna do this. And he starts going into like, yo,
Genius
shit.
marketing mode. Yeah.
Nah, he goes into character. That's what I meant to say. Like, he goes like, we're gonna do a trailer because at that point that's when he started getting hyped with the trailers and shit. So he's like, we're gonna be like, yo, the proving ground. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, bro, like he starts talking, but it's brilliant, right? So whenever that's when we started putting it together, and believe it or not, it was a lot of people that wanted the opportunity to be on it from the stuff we already dropped. So to be honest, we ain't had to pay people to come out. You feel me? We didn't think the Proving Grounds was gonna pop like that, and it actually did. It took off, and the concept was similar to like the NFL, the NBA, when you start seeing fresh faces and them doing stuff that you've never seen before, right? So now you're bringing in B Magic. Nobody was back to back punching like that. We had conceded, but this motherfucker was punching every 2 bars. Then he's battling Clean Paper, right? And Clean Paper's like completely different. He's coming with this wild accent that I can't tell if he's from fucking Atlanta, Detroit, fucking Texas. I don't know where this motherfucker comes from, but he's got a different type of swag to him. And now you're starting to see. I'm in my head. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is gonna work. And B Magic and Clean were probably the first two. I was like, oh, these niggas is out of here. Especially B Magic because he was so different than everybody. Like, bro, there was punchline rappers. Conceited is the godfather of battle rap punchliners, right? Because he was the first one to put a focal point on simply just punching like every 4 bars or whatever he was. But B Magic was the chain puncher. Like he would just keep going. And then he had this wild country flow that he would rap with that was just at the time was was
Just super
fresh.
unique. Yeah.
People
Yeah.
wasn't battling like that. You know what I'm saying? He said what he said, I'm gonna let it pop to the what he said to the spring break, whatever the fuck he said. Like he was on some different shit. Like it was crazy. And then I remember I think I don't know oh John battled Bricks Velvy. John got in contact with me. I bring John over. Um, and then I remember seeing JC because we had an event in New York where the Arsenal Hitman battle. Arsenal Hitman battle, we had the I forgot what Mike Murder, not Mike Murder. It was something that what's his name? Young Miles. He had a crew, like a league out there, and I seen JC, and I was like, yo. And I remember seeing JC. JC stuck out to me because he had like his grandfather's shoes on, and he was dressed in all black, and he looked like he was 11. So when I seen him, I was like, "Yo, who's this little dude?" So I recruited JC off of that because I thought I thought his command was phenomenal for such a small person. He rapped like he was 7'2", and I recruited him. And then I remember seeing Rosenberg. I felt like Rosenberg just looked different. He looked like the guy from The Sandlot with bars. He had a little Jew crawl. So it was just things like that that were just catching my eye because now I'm creating in my head what I believe is a fresh start to battle rap. Now it's not about Mook and Jay Mills and the Loaded Lux. It's about the new wave of individuals that have the originality to it. Like Rosenberg didn't rap like anybody at the time. You know what I'm saying? Even bringing in shotguns, people don't even know. Like people forget the PGs is not where the talent started because that's how Bragg Sue surfing. People don't realize like Surf was like fucking battling in a goddamn closet. I don't know what the fuck he's battling. I bring in Surf to battle Young Ill. This is prior to the PGs. The Shotgun Chill,
Crazy.
Old Red. So the PG process was already going in because I was looking for the new stars. We just happened to name it the PGs and put it a focal point and then turned it into a system in 2011. And from then, the PGs just caught on. People were looking more forward to the PGs and the events, which was absolutely crazy to me.
Okay.
People,
So wait, before you go further, you did touch on Arsenal versus Hitman. Can you
yeah,
explain to us how that guy came together? That's one of the greatest battles ever.
bro, I don't even recall. I just remember. So Verb was the main guy. Verb was Batman. Hitman was Robin, but he wasn't a Robin that was gonna stay a Robin. That motherfucker was ready to be Nightwing already, right? He was ready to take over, and him and Ars was having like words for a while, and you know, we felt like Arsenal was. I think at that point he already had a million view battle, and like Smack's strategy with a lot of things was he got a million view battle. We gonna make this nigga the next time. We're gonna put him against him, and now it's gonna equate to a million view battle, which doesn't necessarily work all the time. But Hitman was special, so that's kind of how that battle happened. It just happened. We wanted to push Hitman at the time because we needed another star, not named Verb, and that's how that battle ended up happening.
Wow.
and yeah, and just putting shit together. Tech Nine.
What would you say was the best out of the PG process? What was the best new star that you feel like really solidified everything once y'all started pushing the PGs?
That's tough. It's tough because I feel like they all have their their special qualities to them. Um, damn, shit. Um, I mean, you can go anywhere from Chilla Jones. I mean, his writing style. Um, shit. That's tough, man. It's tough because I'll tell you this. I think the person with the most, well, I don't want to say the most potential.
Or for you personally,
For me personally, oh man, I think B Magic to me was so fire. Like it was just
a legend
I
for
feel
sure.
like in terms of that had everything was probably clean. I feel like clean was just like clean is like that guy. Like if he had Kobe Bryant's mentality, he'd be the best type of shit. You feel me?
I can
Like
see that 100%.
I
Salute the
feel
clean.
like clean had everything about him. Like I really really liked clean paper. Like um, he was special. But you deal with real life, and God bless him. He's someone that really, be everywhere and whatnot. And I don't know if he ever could put 100% into the shit. And a lot of these guys can because they're living life like that. But I feel like clean paper was like this. Even when you're around clean, right? Like I remember hanging out with him in Milwaukee a lot because he used to do a lot of black ice events, and he's got this thing about him that
Salute Black Ice.
he's just too. Yeah, shout out to that's another person that doesn't get enough credit is Black Ice. Like she along with her team um did a very good job of maintaining and putting a lot of dope stuff out there when with no help from anybody, which I gotta shout out Black Ice for to be honest. But clean, you know, being around clean is just. You ever been around somebody that's just naturally athletic and naturally just good at everything?
Absolutely.
That was clean paper, bro. Like it was just like you know he didn't rap the greatest, but he rapped great. Like I can't explain it. He can perform. He would come up with things that were so different. Like you wouldn't see them coming. I feel like he he was very again I haven't watched Battle Up in years, but at the time he was just very special, um, very likable, very different. You know what I'm saying? Very funny. Um, I feel like he was one of the more talented in regards to having the total package at the time. I think Bill Collector might have been the best rapper, like rapper from the beginning. Um, Another one is Big K. I think Big K is just whew, that guy can fucking rap your socks off. Um, so it's a lot, man. It's a
So there
lot.
was quite a few. Would you
Yeah,
say, looking back and compared to the Crucible process now, what would you say is the biggest difference between the PGs and the Crucible? And there are a lot who say that the PGs were a bit more of a successful process than the
it's
Crucible.
it's not a bit more. It's not even a comparison, and it's not a slight at anybody. Um, Period. But it's not a comparison. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the Crucible was an idea that I actually created, which I actually called it the Combine. It was the Combine, which basically was because people were people was giving a bad name to the PGs in a sense because at the end of the day, bro, when you're doing this shit, the success rate of bringing in stars every year is not that easy. It's not a simple process. It's not a fucking exact science. It's not a situation where you're like, all right, this guy, because most of those guys can actually rap, but it's about knowing timing or when to push someone or how to push someone or understand what they do well or who they match up well against or how they talk. It's a different process. So the PGs wasn't necessarily like for instance, like a lot of people say, well, this guy won, that guy won. I never looked at the process if anybody won. In fact, I remember Av battled. the fuck is this guy's name? I forgot his name. But Av actually technically lost to the guy. But I just felt like Av was dynamic. And I remember pulling Av to the side, and he was like really like disappointed. And I was just like, "Yo, bro, what are you doing here?" And he kind of looked at me like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Why did you fucking rap like that the whole time? Like the first round, you was phenomenal, and then after that, you just like you just didn't do anything." And Av was like, "Well, I didn't think you was gonna fuck with me." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "You didn't call me the entire time." And I'm like, "Bro, I don't fucking want to hang out with these guys." Like, and then I remember I stopped Av. I said, "You got it. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to prove me right because I know you're that guy." And you know, Av came and he ended up fucking the second time going against my man Riggs. Shout out to Riggs, and he went fucking ape shit against fucking Riggs, and Riggs is no slouch. But fucking Av left the planet. Like this was a motivated Av
Yeah, Av
that
is a beast. He's a
saw
monster,
something in
one of the
him.
best.
So I feel like you know maybe, and again I don't know who's a part of the Crucible. I know one individual was, he was my assistant at one time, but it's just it's a different mindset. I don't look at like it's kind of let me so I can't tell you how they do their process because I wasn't a part of that process. So with me, I evaluated people kind of like the Terminator. You ever seen the Terminator where he looks at somebody and then he breaks them down
Yeah,
like
analytically. Yeah.
yeah, analytically. So I would literally, and this is bugged out, but I would watch a battle, and if the guy caught my eye, I would literally at that point envision him like go out of body experience. And this sounds crazy, but this is what I would do and project what I believed he can do. That's how that's how I analyzed people. I projected how they can be special. It was never about he beat this guy. And I feel like people put too much onus on winning when there's no wins or losses in battle rap. This is entertainment. Your job is to entertain these individuals. If they want to debate whether who won or who lost, let them do that.
That's for the
But
fans, right?
my job is to find the person that's going to grab your attention more than everybody else. Hence, a Geechee Gotti, hence a New Jersey twerk, hence a chess. They had all different dynamics about them. When I seen Gotti, he made me feel like I was in Compton. I was, oh, this fucking guy, he makes me feel like I'm in LA. When I seen twerk, I was like, this motherfucker is different. He's just fucking special. Like I couldn't put you couldn't even put a fucking and people laughed at me when I said that. People literally laughed at me. So it's the way I evaluated people was more so how I broke them down in my head and envisioned where they would go. It was never, well, technically this guy does this well, or it was never that for me. It was more so where can I take this product and how can I mold it and put it into stardom? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I feel like, I guess when they were doing the Crucible, I mean, again, I didn't really pay much attention to it. It was more, it became like, how do I explain? I guess like a fucking American Idol type shit, and that's never what I intended it to be. So when I was doing the combine, I wanted to give battle owners more of an opportunity to kind of witness the process and to see where I was going. Because a lot of people are like, "Well, you're just coming here for money, and you're not even paying attention." And I'm like, "Bro, I am paying attention, but if you can't grab my attention within a couple bars, how the fuck do I expect you to sell out a venue of 2,000, 3,000 people?" You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's a fair point.
And I think people in battle rap and to this day probably take way too long to get to the fucking point. Like it's just like, dude, entertain me. I don't give a shit how real you are. I don't just show me something different. And nine out of I say out of 1,000 people I would see, one would stick out. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I'm just being honest, like, and it was never a And it's kind of crazy. Like I don't got paid to host match. I got people paid to rap in front of me. Never I was ever about the money. You know what I'm saying? And nobody paid me to put them on. You know, it was for the opportunity for me to actually see them. And the crazy shit is, for instance, when I seen Ill Will is a perfect spot.
Okay.
I got paid to host in I want to say Scheme Street, right? Scheme Street, and they kept pushing on me other people. So a lot of times these league owners, they have specific people that they want you to see, right? So when I went to this event, they wanted me to see certain people. So it was like, all right, he's okay. But when fucking Ill Will got up there and he smoked Jay Huggins, shout out to Jay Huggins, that's my man. I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, why is everybody telling me about this asshole, that asshole? Who the fuck is that? And the crazy shit is, Ill Will didn't even want to fucking battle. He was like, I don't. He didn't know who the fuck I was. He didn't give a shit who I was. I had to fucking chase this guy for fucking months,
That's
months
crazy.
to get this guy. I kid you not. I would call him like, yo, you're the next one, Will. Trust me, you're it. You're the guy. There's something I see in you that is just great. And there was greatness that I saw in Ill Will. Fucking greatness. That guy can entertain fucking bro. That guy right there is one of the most talented people I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Salute to Ill Will.
Literally.
He's a legend.
And he doesn't get enough credit for how amazing he is. But when I seen Ill Will, I was just like, Jesus Christ, who is this fucking guy?
So,
And
Norbs,
yeah,
what went wrong with the PG process, in your
I
opinion?
don't think I don't think it went wrong. It's just sometimes people go apart, so you start looking for excuses as to how to point the finger at that individual to move them out of the picture. And I don't want to get into that stuff because then it's going to get into.
Yeah, no, I don't
I
either.
don't
But
want
I
to. I
do
don't
want
listen.
to. I want to know from like a structural point what went wrong with that.
Just grew apart. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, it's public. We ended up in a lawsuit or whatnot. But sometimes people, you know,
People just grow apart.
I want to say go.
Different
Like
ideas,
just,
different directions.
just listen. When I'm gonna say this, when money comes into the picture, you're gonna know more about who fuck with you when there's a bag in front of you, or potentially.
I've
And I'll
definitely
leave it at
learned
that.
that experience.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to knock them. I appreciate the opportunity Troy gave me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being 100% real. Um, I respect the years of us creating something. Because to be honest with you, I don't even give a shit about people giving me credit. Like, yo, you're this, you're that. I don't care. I don't even give a shit about that. I'd rather be known as a great dad, stuff like that. Someone to help people, right? So I don't care about that. I don't care if this person wants to take credit for this person. You guys can have it. You guys can tell the fucking story without me, even though you can't. But I've grown to a point where I rather appreciate the things that I had to go through to become to who I am today, regardless if they're positive or negative, and appreciate the opportunity Troy gave me, the opportunity Eric gave me. You know what I'm saying? And I rather cherish those moments that we had than live through the hell I had to live with, going through litigation and seeing the ugly side of
Understood. You want to focus on the
you know what I'm
legacy of it
saying?
all and
And not even
what
legacy
was
because
built.
listen, yeah, people can give Troy all the credit, and I feel like in hip hop they do. A lot of people don't mention me. A lot of from the Joe Buttons to all these people, they don't give me my credit, which is absolutely fine. I get it. You guys can give it all to the people you want to give it to, and it doesn't matter to me because that's not what defines me. I know what I created. I know what I've done. I know my story. So to me, I rather appreciate the good times I have with them and not focus on uh the shit I had to go through for like the last 5 or 6 or even longer than that. People don't even understand. Hip hop is real is in this group. Knowledge is one of my better friends, even though I don't call him all the time because he fucking irritates me with his stupid shit on the
Shout
post.
out to Hip Hop
Like,
Zero. But
like
hold on, Norbs.
yeah,
Norbs, I got to give
yeah,
you a little bit of pushback, interview style,
yeah,
obviously. Do you feel
yeah.
like just in taking accountability and looking back, were there moments, power is a trippy thing. being responsible for so many people's success and recruiting some of the greatest talent battle rap to this day battle rap has ever seen. We give you your respect, we give you your flowers for that. Do you think, in looking back in hindsight, you may have mishandled certain personal relationships? Do you think, just looking back?
Um, I feel like, and this is just being real. I feel like everyone does. It's called growing up.
100%.
I feel like you do things that you look back on, you're like, damn, I could have handled that situation a little better, or I probably should have not did this. So to answer your question, it's just life. It's just living life and coming to terms with, you know, everybody's story is different. Everybody's struggle is different. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's why when I see people make mistakes, and I'm not judgmental because at the same time, I've made a shitload of mistakes. I've made them publicly. I've made them behind the scenes. I may have. I remember one fan was telling me one day, and I felt really bad. They're like, "Yo, I met you, and you weren't very nice to me." And I'm like, "Man, I'm like the nicest person in the world." And sometimes people don't realize, like, you may be going through something that day, or you may be busy, or sometimes somebody's talking to you, and bro, I have this thing where I can literally phase out an entire room and not hear anything purposely. So, I mean, it's life. I've never handled everything correctly.
Of course.
I've never handled everything 100%. But at the same time, I can live with my faults. I can live with all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, although I might not have been perfect, you know what I'm saying, the game has never been the same without me. And I know that. You feel me? But, you know, to me,
100%.
it's just a part of growing up, man. Like it's just crazy to me. But I feel like people harp on whatever mistake they feel like you've made, or whatever they feel, and all of that doesn't erase all the good you've done. Like people don't even realize like how many rents I've paid where people are broke. How many bro, I've saved battlers' lives. Like it's insane. Like so, to answer your question, I can't say I've handled everything. If I was to say I handled everything correctly, I'd be fucking lying to everybody. It's not the truth. Nobody's handled everything correctly. So, do I regret anything? No, because it's life, and you learn from life. And sometimes you got to uh, go through something in order to understand and appreciate what you have or where you're going. So,
Yeah,
to
that's
answer your
true.
question,
That's true. You
that's
live
pretty
and
much
you live
the
and you
best way.
learn.
Yeah, I mean,
Y-
it is what it
You
is.
talked about not having a budget and finding a creative way to present new talent, with the PGs, but there was also a shift to major cards. How were you all in the cards, major cards that you were involved in? How were you all able to finally get a budget and put that together?
You talking about back then? I mean,
Yeah,
well, a lot of people, there was other parts to the machine that were there. Shout out to my man Hattie. Harry was. I think people need to give him a lot of credit. He was involved with the culture.
shout out Harry.
Um, yeah, he was super dope. But I don't really want to get into those things. But in terms of that, we were able to figure it out, and at the same time, our fans were very supportive, and um, they came out, and we ended up building a solid team. About a couple and a few individuals, 5 or 6 of us, and we got it done. And then it was a great run.
What do you think
And
was
that
your
was
favorite big card that you were a part of?
my favorite big card that I was ever a part of. Shit. I'll tell you the most memorable. I don't know if I ever had a favorite because I fucking hated events. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Why did you hate it?
You fucking bro, the fucking weed smoke and the 1,000 calls to get in from the fucking standing up for fucking 14 hours because hip hop people could never be on fucking time. Listen, I fucking absolutely hated events. But just being honest, it was just too much of a pain in the ass. The best part of the event, and this is gonna sound corny as shit, was and any fans that have ever met me can attest to this, was me hanging out with the fans. Like I fucking loved hanging out with the fans. Like I would fucking hang with them and joke with them. I would stay in the crowd. I wouldn't give a shit about being on stage. I fucking hated that stuff. I preferred to kick it with the public. But to be honest with you, my most memorable happened to be probably Summer Madness 2 for multiple reasons. Like it was like the culmination of like, yo, this is going somewhere. You look up and I know people hate Diddy right now, but you see Puff and it's kind of surreal. Like Puff has like a fucking aura. He smells like $1 billion. Like I got to smell Puff, and I was like, this motherfucker smells rich. I for the first time in my life, I smelled rich. And fucking Puff
What does
was
rich
it.
smell like?
It fucking smells amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like this fucking guy smells really good. And I was like, what the fuck? It was nuts. But
What?
I
Wow.
remember,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I remember Puff saluted me, and that was crazy. I went upstairs, and he shook my hand. I was like, this fucking guy has really soft hands. He smells good. Like, I'm like, how the fuck? Like, money makes you, whatever. But to see Buster and Puff and like to see people, like bro, like people couldn't get in. Lloyd Banks couldn't get in. Fab couldn't get in. It was fucking crazy. Like, and it was really memorable because I remember my fucking feet were killing me. Um, and it was crazy because it was memorable for a few reasons. But I remember Loaded Lux's performance. Right, that I was on stage for that. I'm glad. I'm grateful I was on stage for that. That was absolutely crazy. Um, I remember Murder Mook and Solomon was so unmemorable. Like, it was terrible. And then I remember walking out. Me and Troy were walking out side by side. And I was like, yo, we got crazy, nigga. I know we made some money, right? And I just remember Smack's face. Nigga looked at me and was like, man, this nigga took all the money, Shan. I said, what, nigga? It's like, so that's why it was memorable with so many fucking things that transpired that day. And it was dope. It was dope. I just remember, they say the best part of a successful business is the come up, right? And that was part of the come up. And it was super crazy. Like it was yo, bro, Summer Madness 2 was really surreal. Like I remember pulling up to the block and the line was like no fucking bullshit. Like 6 city blocks down. Like I walked the fucking line from the beginning all the way to the front, and I interacted with every single person on that line, and I even thanked them. I remember that shit. I was just like, "Yo, I appreciate you, man. It's crazy." I took like a million pictures. It was like a culminating moment. In that regard, like it was just like, holy shit, and it was happening so fast, which was kind of scary too. And um, being young, like I was, younger, like I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Let
So
me ask you. Speaking of rich people and how they smell, personally
yeah.
as a sponsor, I want to know why in battle rap people are unable to maintain long-term relationships with sponsors. Why is it that all the sponsors come and go? The caffeines come, the Harrys.
Well, let's
What is
break
it?
this down. Okay? So let's keep it funky. You can't. All right. So anybody that's in this chat that's thrown events, right? First of all, in battle rap, people have to understand business, right? Sponsors pay for ad time and stuff like that. Then you have investors. Caffeine was not a sponsor, so let's take that out the equation. They were an investor. That's a big difference. A sponsor is somebody that says, "Hey Frank, listen, give me fucking 20 seconds of airtime on your show. I'll give you 5,000." They don't want ROI. An investor wants return on investment. So those are the tough relationships to actually get. Those people, because your success is based upon what you can manifest in terms of sales. Okay. And I think people in battle rap continue to look for sponsors and they continue to fuck investors. And I'm not saying this specifically that you are wrong, to be honest with you. I'm talking about in general. you're looking for sponsors. That's based upon your viewership. Looking for an investor is someone that wants a piece of what you have in order to make money. And I feel like uh, it's been a fucked up gig. And I feel like in this culture, specifically in this culture, people don't separate the two. And for whatever reason, the caffeine situation, Apple URL, that's the story that they can tell you. You know what I mean? Of course, I have my own theories and my own truth to the situation, but in regards to everyone else, whether it's ARP, I know ARP paid for a lot of stuff out of his own pocket. He was his own investor, right? Um, you know, why you lose investors? Professionalism, people not being on time, people canceling battles, people last second saying, hey, I have an emergency, I had to take a shit, I couldn't make it. Whatever the fucking excuses. It's very unprofessional business because people don't treat it like a business. They treat it like, that's my man, I'll get back to him in a week or so. And I feel like, when you're dealing with an investor, you're dealing with someone that's putting up money with the intent to make profit. And when you're an investor and the people you're investing in aren't even able to control the ship, whether it be ARP, whether it be Black Ice, whether it be King of the Dot, whether it be URL, then people don't want to invest in that shit anymore. And I feel like, you know, in that regard, it's tough. It's tough to keep it, to maintain it. You know what I'm saying? And caffeine. I don't even think they're in business anymore. ARP fucking retired. He's like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. It's too much stress, too much money. So I mean, Remy. I don't fucking know when the fuck is Remy doing an event. I don't fucking know. But it's just Remy can't fucking get investors. So it's a question that I think every major organization is still dealing with. King of the Dot. I don't even know when the fucking last time they even did anything. They had Drake as an investor. Why the fuck isn't Drake around anymore? Why? Because Drake's about money. You're not making money, you're gonna lose an investor. So, it's a question for every league. And if you don't have uh consistent ROI or a game plan, then this is what you get today. And it looks like to me from the outside looking in, because I'm not involved anymore, it looks like a shit show.
That's a fair and honest answer, and I appreciate you being honest about that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite memory from your time in battle rap? Looking back, what is the best thing you think that you've contributed to the culture?
That's two different questions. It's confusing me right now. My best memory. Um.
Let's start with your best memory, and then what you feel you've contributed to the
Well, I
culture.
don't. I can't even think about a great memory, man. Like I don't even care to think about it. But for you, I'm gonna think about this.
I appreciate that.
My fondest memory. Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. Like I didn't really enjoy being in battle rap. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't.
Wow, wow,
I
really?
really didn't. Like it was just a lot of fucking people crying on your phone and asking you for money and um oh man you know let me take that back. There was a lot of it was a lot of stress. So it was a real, like I felt like I was working on Wall Street. If I didn't deliver, people would tear you down. Then if you did deliver, it wasn't you that did it. It was, it's a lot of pressure. So I don't remember a lot of great or memories. Um, Maybe I blocked it out. I don't know. What was the second part of that question? What was what?
Wow. No, that's the honest answer. What do you feel overall is your contribution to the culture? If somebody said, "Hey, what do you feel this is your piece right here?" What would that be?
um, Shit, man. My contribution to the culture. I'll say creating and stabilizing something for as long as I possibly could have. Because at the end of the day, battle rap kind of went in spurts, and this is probably the longest it was sustained. And I don't want to take credit for its downfall, but it does speak volumes where the state is right now. And the only real difference is that I'm not involved, and that's just the facts. Because even when Caffrey wasn't involved, we was doing pretty fucking well. So I would say sustaining it for as long as it could have, and then there's still people, trying to hope for it, and and maybe expanding it globally, to where people see it. So maybe that's what I would say. Um, I did get to meet a lot of great people, build a lot of decent relationships. So I would say that there's a lot of people that love battle rap, and I guess I could say that I'm a part of the reason for to creating a lot of people's memories uh, in this culture. So I guess I could say that a lot of
I think
people.
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful contribution. And I want you to know, Norbs, those of us who love this culture, I've been watching Battle Rap for 20 years. We appreciate what you contributed. We respect you. It's a
Listen,
lot of love for you, for the lives that you changed, the talent that you brought to the game that can never be replicated. I don't ever want you to shortchange yourself and not say and think that there aren't people out there who know exactly what you brought to the table and how you
yeah,
elevated the sport.
I mean I get that, but to be honest with you, bro, like I don't really care, nor do
Thanks,
I.
man.
No, no,
Thanks.
no, 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 Frank. No, I'm sorry. Listen,
I'm just
no,
joking.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
Frank. Listen. You know what's crazy? I didn't even know this interview was gonna be about battle rap till you inboxed me because I don't do battle rap interviews. Hip Hop has been chasing me for 2 years. I don't fucking care to do interviews. Like to the point where when knowledge calls me, I thought, "Yo, I don't even like the people in battle. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want people to then come out with a blog and just say stuff wrong because I don't want to be drawn into none of this shit. Like it's just one of those things where I don't care if I ever get credit for it. I don't want an award for it. I don't want to be recognized for it. I literally, if people forgot that I ever did battle rap, would be 100% cool with that. Unless you're Chris Brown, because my wife loves Chris Brown, and I got to pay for these goddamn tickets that she wants to do the fucking meet and greet. But if Chris Brown is listening and you like me, Chris Brown, let me get one of those goddamn tickets August 30th that weekend, where I could do a meet and greet where I don't got to pay $1,000 for. But outside of that, I really don't care for the notoriety. I feel like a lot of people in battle rap crave that attention. They want to be somebody. And to be honest with you, it's a false reality. Be somebody to your children, be somebody to your family. Um, be somebody like that. I don't care to be popular or battle rap. I don't care for awards. I don't care if somebody says, well, Norbs didn't do none of that shit. I did. That's cool. You can have that. I don't give a shit. So to be perfectly honest, um, and it's sad, and I know people are gonna say, "Damn, that's fucked up." I really don't care to ever be recognized to do anything in the hip hop or battle rap, and that's just the God's honest truth. I really do not care. Um, and I know people, and it's fucked up because I know people are like, why do you say that? I'm like, well, nobody wanted to give me my credit from the beginning, so don't give it to me now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I got to deal with a lot of bullshit um, my entire length in battle rap. So to me, it's something that I don't think about. I don't care about the legacy of it. You know what I'm saying? I really care more about being a great dad. I really don't care if I was invited to like an award show, like let's just say, like, oh, we want to recognize you for your contribution in battle rap, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't show up.
Wow.
I literally do not give a shit about it. And not that I don't care about what I created and the people's lives that I've touched. Because For every fan that has thanked me, for every fan that has said hello to me, for every fan that said to me, "Hey, you made my kids' day." I've flown out uh, people. I've flown out less fortunate people. I've done a lot of those things. Those are the only things to me that have mattered in what I've done in battle rap. All the fake um, um, accomplishments and all that bullshit, I don't care about. The things that I do appreciate are the people that I did help. Whether I made you a better person, or I made your kid smile, or if I made your mom smile. I remember meeting mothers and kids and signing stuff and taking pictures. For those people, if I helped them with a memory and I did that, then that I appreciate and would always love to be recognized for that. But in regards to getting credit for a bunch of guys telling lies on each other, I don't care. I really don't.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this then, Norbes. 6 years ago, I was laid up on a bench in New Orleans, homeless, dead broke, not a single dollar to my name. I'm sitting up next to Starbucks. It's late at night. They used to keep the Wi-Fi on when they closed. My phone don't even work no more. It only works with Wi-Fi.
Right?
I've lost I've lost everything. $0. I spent the whole year homeless. And I would sit by the Starbucks by the bus stop late at night, and I'm on my phone watching battle rap. And that's getting me through the entire situation. 6 years from that, I'm on the phone with somebody who got me through one of the toughest times of my life. And now I'm in a way greater financial space.
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you that personally, you contributed to a culture that changed my life and helped me forget the circumstances that were probably some of the worst experiences I've ever had.
No,
So I want to say thank you from that perspective as a fan, as someone who appreciated the art and who was able to escape to the art when my circumstances were terrible. So hopefully, from that perspective, you can appreciate the love and inspiration that I have for
no,
you.
and again, that means something to me. If I was able to do that, and I definitely appreciate that, and I definitely respect that. That's why I said, like, in regards to anybody that I've been able to help, I always appreciate it. It's just the other things that I don't really care about. I don't crave off the notoriety. I see people argue about what they've done, what they've accomplished. I'm like, you didn't accomplish anything. You know what I'm saying? But that means something to me. If anybody I done helped out, anybody I made their dreams come true or whatnot, that I will always cherish. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about the individual achievements, but if there's anybody I helped, or I don't spoke to kids, all types of shit, bro. That means something to me.